just thinking about it. And I have one that still has me shook to this day. Mine comes from Avengers Endgame. I thought Infinity War with the snap and thinking everybody died was the biggest plot twist ever. But then when I watched Endgame again, I noticed something. It was about Falcon. If you buy the DVD and watch some of the deleted scenes, they do a deep dive into his past, and we come to find out that this man used to be a rapper in Michigan named Papa Doc. This man was undefeated. He was smoking everybody in front of him until he ran into a white man from the trailer park named B Rabbit, aka Eminem. And B Rabbit let us know that Papa Doc was not a gangster. His real name was Clarence. And Clarence lived at home with both parents, and Clarence's parents had a real good marriage. After this very moment, that man was exiled from battle rap, moved out of Detroit, and became an Avenger. You couldn't beat Eminem, but you could beat Thanos. If that's not a plot twist, I don't know what is. This guy made...
Judge Kelly can be harsh.
I'm afraid of Judge Kelly. Afraid he won't eat.
Judge Kelly?
I've prepared an egg that I've flattened so it cools as soon as possible. Hope you enjoy.
Did you make it with butter?
I'm freaking out right now. Here.
I agree, buddy.
I think I did okay. He ate some of it. Wasn't enough.
I made you some fruit and stuff. Sliced kiwis, tangerines, and a quarter of a muffin. Help you
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge. I can't believe I got a Judge Kelly hat plate.
Me neither.
I can't believe it. This show goes on until he's old enough to feed himself. What is that?
Bro, we bell out car. Motherfucker on the floor. Please. Bro, we bell out car.
The next battle.
All me and my friends do is bond over the fact that life is beating our full deal. She bought the property of my late neighbors. We hadn't had the kind of money to buy it at that time, as we'd met some dire straits the years before, and all of our savings were gone. The first thing she did before she actually moved in was to go around and make demands of the neighbors on the surrounding property. When it was finally our turn to listen to her gibberish, she told us that we needed to remove half of the trees, as the leaves were blowing on our property. We told her in a polite way that we won't comply to her demands, as the orchard is a vital part of our family heritage, tradition, and life, and has been there for at least 120 years. She was pretty pissed, but did nothing for the time being. There's something you need to know before I continue with this story. The workshop I mentioned before was situated right at the border to our property. It was a small, timber-framed building, at least 160 to 180 years old. The regulations in my state are pretty strict concerning old structures. Every structure over 100 years is protected. You need a special permission to tear it down. Failing to get this permission can lead to a hefty fine. To get the permission to build a new building, it has to be up to code. And you have to ask your surrounding neighbors, and if they agree, you're good to go. Except there's one specialty in my county. You have to keep a certain distance to the border of the property to allow emergency services full access to your property. If one of these requirements isn't met, the building is illegal, or at least only partially legal, and can actually be ordered by court to be torn down. That might come in handy later. So back to Karen. After our first encounter with her, she did her best to pester the whole neighborhood. She got the neighbor's dog put down because he allegedly attacked her brat. Later turned out she faked the attack. The dog was the sweetest and most innocent dog you could imagine. A Bernese Mountain Dog, big, but a real teddy bear. Anyways, she later got us to stop doing our annual beach parties, as she called the police every time for various reasons. Noise complaints, we had a band playing there in the afternoon, arson, we lit a fire in a designated fire pit in the middle of our property. She called the ATF on us, allegedly making moonshine. My dad had a license to distill for our own consumption. In short, she was a real pain in the bum, and after 3 years, we decided it wasn't worth it to deal with the various officers and law enforcement agencies every time we threw the party, and we decided to quit. After she had reached this goal, she resorted to pestering us to remove the orchard. We didn't cave in, and some things started to get really fishy. Somehow the tires of our trucks got slashed, eggs got thrown on our farmhouse, our cat disappeared and surfaced a few days later in pretty rough condition. It looked like somebody had tried to cut his tail off. Don't worry, he healed up completely, but we actually couldn't prove that she did all that. Then came the day she made her biggest mistake. She had a company come in sort of a secret operation, and tear down the old woodworking workshop overnight. 2 days later, they started building a big garage/recreational center/house right where the shop was. But she missed one fine detail, which got pretty important later on. She didn't ask for our permission, nor for the neighbors. A short while after, the trees right next to our property started to get sick. The leaves turned brown in the middle of summer, and the branches started to die. We lost 4 trees before we figured out the cause. Somebody had driven long copper nails into them. We had a suspicion, but we couldn't prove it. So we put up some trail cameras, perfectly legal as it was on our own property. We caught her red-handed. My dad confronted her. She apologized. My dad, being the way too nice guy he is, wanted to let her get off the hook. But not me. The nail she drove into our oldest tree was the final nail to her coffin. I started to investigate. I had some friends at the administration of our county and asked them to do some inquiries. Turned out she hadn't applied for permission to tear down the old shop, nor for permission to build a new building. I further did some inquiries on the borderline of our property. Turned out the old markers vanished over time, and her building was about 3 feet on our property. After I gathered all this information, I presented it to my parents. At first, they were reluctant, as they didn't want to start a neighborhood clash. But after I recalled all the things she did to us and our neighbors, they were in. So let the games begin. First, we called the authorities on her for tearing down a protected building and presented them with all the evidence we gathered. Then, we called the building authorities on her for building a building without permission, not up to code, and not only didn't she keep the required distance to the property border, she also built on our property without our permission. Long story short, turned out the workshop hasn't only been protected because of its age, but also because it was a historical landmark, which played a vital role in a conflict back in the 1860s. She got sued for this and had to pay a fine of an equivalent of about $150,000. Further, had to demolish her building, costing an additional $50,000. Got fined for this too, about $3,000. And to rebuild the workshop on her own, which was another whopping $154,000, as it had to be.
Final round. Fight. Round 1. Fight. You win.
Situation, third world country, the IT sector was very affected after the subprime crisis. I got a job as a developer in a place with horrible rules, treatment of staff, and very ugly workplace in general, and on top of that, I had smoking inside the offices without ventilation. But I had to pay
Get
the
ready
bills.
for the next
The pay
battle.
was so bad that it was normal for many people to do small thefts like papers, pens, notebooks, etc. But once again,
Round one. Fight.
had almost died.
Round two. Fight. Round three. Fight.
This is what I call fun. That's a knockout. Good night.
Round one. Fight. Round two.
So we chilled again and played more Xbox almost all day. But made sure we could barely pull a win. Actually, down so Matt kept falling asleep for little naps, then waking back up to smoke more. So my friends did little small pranks like cut chunks of hair off and draw.
Get ready for the next battle.
He actually woke up while I was drawing a circle.
Eu juro pelo meu mestre, não vou perder.
Round 1. Fight. Round 2. Fight. Round 3. Fight. Round 4. Fight.
Oh fuck. Yeah.
Eu juro pelo meu mestre, não vou perder.
Round 1. Fight. Round 2. Fight. Round 3. Fight. Round 4. Fight.
with me raising a middle finger at the next 3 friends he had brought with him to make them reconsider their dedication to the mission at hand. Next, I kicked him in the face while he was down 4 times. My shoes were smeared with blood. I kicked him in the balls a fair few times after that, spat him to the back of his head, and walked away. I never talked to him again. I never cared how he was doing today, but I'd seen his face. It certainly wasn't the one he'd been born with. Naturally, word of the fight spread around. I got in some big trouble, suspension, but the motto, don't mess with the F slur, spread around real quick. As far as I know, nobody ever did. Yeah, I mean, all these bullies think they're high and mighty until somebody who can actually defend themselves is in that position.
Get ready for
I'm
the
gonna
next
go out
battle.
on a limb and assume that they thought that because Obi was gay, that somehow they...
Round 1. Fight. Round 2. Fight. Round 3. Fight.
Naturally, some thunder run to the Lexus owner threw the sign in a dumpster and stole the spot. I remember it was red. It was of course connected to a blue car that was obviously because it's kind of crowded anyway. I hadn't told my girlfriend about my plan to dig out the parking spot, mostly because I didn't want to look like a realist if it was too much work and I gave up. So I just stewed on it, after doing all the things I could do. My girlfriend ended up finding a spot on the street a block away. Had a good evening anyway.
Get ready for the next
day,
battle.
So she took off around 2 a.m. and I stayed up until maybe around 4 a.m. The car was still there and I was still in.
Come and get some. I dare you.
Round 1. Fight. Round one. Fight. Round two. Fight. Round three. Fight.
But after a while, we became suspicious. He called saying the bike wouldn't start. I drove over to the store to say that. Motorcycle. He called him and said, bring it back now. The report stolen. When he came back later that evening with a girl, he made up a BS excuse as to why the motorcycle had 130 miles on the odometer. The way he told it made it clear he had no clue how the damn motorcycles work. You don't glitch and jump ahead 130 miles. He said it did. My best friend would know. He's constantly pulling his bike apart and making repairs and modifications to it. I grilled him about the fact that he was never where he said he was.
Get ready for the next
That he
battle.
rode the bike to his hometown to pick up his girlfriend and back, and lied about everything. That was the last straw that broke the camel's back.
Round one. Fight. Round two. Round three. Fight. Round four. Fight.
made up lies and pages of screenshots of what we did to his social media. Me and best friend are laughing our butts off reading it. He said he left town because the bills were too much. He never did sue us, and we even taunted his bluff with our new Facebook account. The reason why he thought this would fly is the neighbor threatened to sue us over the window he broke, and we paid for the replacement window. So he thought that the mere threat of a lawsuit would be enough to put an end to the revenge. I still have his lawsuit letter because I like to read it for a good chuckle every now and then. I'm thinking of framing it on my wall as a trophy. Last I heard, he's completely destitute and has 0 friends. Now that everyone knows how much of a terrible
Round
person he
1.
is,
Fight. Round 2. Fight. Round 3. Fight. Round 4. Fight. Final round. Fight.
Now this is what I call fun. That's a knockout. Good night.
You win. Round 1. Fight. Round 2. Fight.
recently was our family home. Soon after, I got a tenant to take one of the rooms, and that rent money paid for all my living expenses. Now, as I mentioned, my dad was out of the country only 7 months of the year, which meant he was home for 5 of them. Or
Get ready for the next battle.
The truth is, he wasn't. My dad was a skirt chaser, and even in those 5 months, I hardly ever saw him, as he'd be out staying with
Round 1. Fight. Round 1. Fight. Round 2. Fight. Round 3. Fight. Round 4. Fight. Round one. Fight. Round two. Fight.
What in the fuck?
Round three. Fight. Round four. Fight.
Same repeated ass shit. Post ass motherfucker. I fucking like that fucking piece of shit.
You win.
I spent about 3 days, including Christmas, driving around aimlessly. I had slept in my car for those nights. I was none. When evil stepmother asked me who the woman was, I happily told her. There was just one problem with this. My dad had foreseen me turning on him and given me the wrong information. Therefore, in the eyes of evil stepmother, I had purposely turned to make this change. Following this, my dad had sent me a message that I was no longer his son. The woman had actually been a mistake.
Get ready for the next battle.
My dad and evil stepmother had often frequented.
Round one. Fight.
It's over. Yeah.
Round 4. Fight. Final round. Fight. Round 1. Fight. KO. Round 2. Fight. Round 3. Fight. Round 1. Fight. Round 2. Fight.
Come the fuck home.
Constantly about how much better our service was and how they were definitely happy with how the repairs were going. Then it starts to go south from this point. I'm asked to ladder and even the highest position. Of course, me and my co-operator apply for the position since we know how to run this division and think we could do the job great. We both get looked over for manager's friend, which he had no experience in this division whatsoever.
Get ready
He's
for the
actually one of
next
the
battle.
logistics purchasers. He has no idea whatsoever on how to run a department, nor any technical experience whatsoever. He of course gets this position, and right off the bat, it wants to change how we do things and reduce the strain on the logistics group. Co-operator and myself immediately protest and opposes changes with prejudice and vigor. Well, this fell on deaf ears. When he tells us to implement the changes, I refuse. So does my co-operator. For weeks, we argue with manager's friend, which is now my manager, and he gets upset and continuously fights with us to make the changes. We again refuse. I emailed his manager and explained the situation and pointed out that it would increase repairs and our customers would be very unhappy. At this time, the base of our customers 20 full, and our satisfaction rating on all our reviews were in the upper 90s. Though these emails and everything that co-operator and I were explaining went on deaf ears. At this point, manager's friend feels that I'm the instigator of the disobedience, and that evening I was called to a conference with HR, manager's friend, and his manager. He informed me I was going to be demoted from operator to dispatcher due to my inability to be a team player and confrontational to my manager, etc., etc. So I said, fine with me. And less work, same pay, so I'm okay with this. Now, with this job, you had certain functions of the job that you could and could not do. You could only do what was assigned to you for that job description. Dispatchers could only dispatch calls to techs, and not assign their own calls. That was my previous job. My co-operator at the time was in charge of escalations, onboarding techs, and did not know the system I used to dispatch these calls. Next day, I come in and sit at my desk, waiting for calls to be put on my board, knowing that there was no one now to dispatch calls to the dispatchers. After about 4 hours, I get approached by manager's friend, asking why I was not dispatching calls to everyone. I politely said, remember, I got demoted, I can't dispatch. It's not part of my job description, and I don't want to be fired for doing something that I'm not allowed to do. The dread on his face could be seen as it streaks up his back and hits him full force. At this point, he realized he just freaked up. Of course, his manager and he didn't know anything about this software that was developed in-house and had no instructions on how to use it. It was the backbone of this division's dispatching software. Without this, no calls could be dispatched out whatsoever. The news is now getting around that no calls are being dispatched, and manager's friend's manager now enters and asks what's going on. He soon realizes as well what happened. They then call me back into the conference room and ask me to train a replacement. Of course, I refuse. The day ends and I go home. Next morning, I show up for work on the dot and they call me back in yet again, offering my position back and to please start dispatching calls as soon as possible. Of course, I refuse the promotion, pointing out key points that they brought up during my demotion meeting on why they were demoting me, and because of those points, I felt I had to overcome them. Be able to accept the promotion, it would be a great time to focus on my abilities that they outlined. They were flabbergasted and frustrated clearly. They get upset and tell me that I'm holding the company hostage and that they'll have to take me to court. At this point, per my contract, I am now entitled to a lawyer and they have to pay. A few days go by, of course. No calls being dispatched. They're now relying on emails and phone calls to get calls dispatched and parts ordered, and it's pandemonium abound. It's adding so much more time to each call and ordering parts, the whole system is falling apart. I finally get contacted by a lawyer telling me that he is to represent me and that he's being paid by the company I work for, but that he works for me, period. That he can't talk to them without my knowledge, he cannot do anything against my own interests, and that he is being paid by them but works for me. He goes on to tell me that they can't force me to take a promotion, and they can't fire me if I fulfill my obligations of the employment contract, which was pretty easy, basically just show up on time, take breaks in specified time, and leave at specified time. So I do. This goes on for a month when they're finally getting to the breaking point. Repairs are exceeding 2 weeks, and customers are canceling their repair contracts due to service issues. They decide to demote me again to logistics. Now, the manager of logistics is a good friend. He thinks this is retaliation for all these issues. So he just says to me to take a desk over in the corner and do my thing, whatever I wanted. He wasn't going to punish me for their stupidity. We go to court, they present their case, and my lawyer presents mine. After 2 days, the judge rules in favor of me and says that a company can't force me into a job or doing a job that I do not wish, and this would be considered enslavement. They pressed the judge to have me turn over the information to run the software that runs their division. The judge asked me if I had written it down. At this point, I didn't have it. I threw it away, so I answered honestly to the judge. Though I did say, I do remember how to use it and all the codes to dispatch since I did it for years. It became like second nature. Judge asked me if I would be willing to write down the instructions. I politely said no. Judge said, okay, that's that then. Upon coming back to work the next day, I decided to start looking for another job. After about a month, I found a new position at another company, making about 10% more and with better options, and also agreed to give me the month off with salary for my honeymoon. So I wrote up a resignation letter and sent it to my manager, his manager, and the senior staff of the division, and also the CEO of the company, explaining everything that went on and why I was leaving the company and wished them the best. That Friday, I packed up my personal stuff and left. 2 weeks later, I get a call from the CEO of the company apologizing for what happened and that all this information just came to light and that the individuals involved were terminated. Manager's friend, his manager, and the one above him, which was sweet to my ears, and offered my job back. I politely declined. A few weeks after manager's friend was fired, I was told by my good friend and co-operator that he passed from a drug overdose, which is sad and completely not deserved, no matter how much I hated him. The division I ran was merged into another division a year later after it was not able to recover. 30% of the people that worked for that division were laid off or transferred to other divisions. My co-operator is still working for the same company, though he said that after this whole ordeal, it never recovered and was never the same, and had gone downhill dramatically, and he'll be retiring this year. The job you're working for was just full of nepotism and incompetence. They didn't help you out and then demoted you for saving their butts? Would that be enough to make you just say, screw it, you guys are gonna sink the company, and I'm not helping you anymore, good luck? Let me know what you would do in the comments down below. And our final story of the day is by Sub to Dead Meat. Abusive husband loses his family, house, visa, dignity, and $100,000. This story happened in Lebanon, Australia, Lebanon, in that order, so please bear with me. My cousin, Australian, has just met a wonderful person. He cared for her, loved her, and really treated her in a special, caring way. Or so we thought. One day, she came in the middle of the night to my house, and then I saw her with her son. Both had bruises on their face. As it turns out, he just married her for the privileges as an Australian. So when they got a son, she got pressured to handle the harm and stay with him just so that she can see her son. And now, this guy is dead. My family and I devised an elaborate plan to send the cousin and her son to Australia, where she has more custody rights over there. But we also had to make her get some money to start off her business there as well. First, we went to the police, who said that they can't arrest him because the cousin didn't report him, but they don't mind us taking care of him. So, later that night, one of my cousins and I attacked him with bars of soap wrapped in a towel. No bruises or wounds, and we hit him until they broke. And after he went to the police station to report us, they laughed at him. After he got out, we warned him to leave Lebanon before we seriously hurt him. And after that confrontation, he got his wife, son and $100,000. Here came the tricky part. We had to have incriminating evidence of his harm against her to blackmail him. We can't attack him in Australia. So, after my aunt helped them get a house, she rigged a
Get
camera,
ready for the
and
next
after she
battle.
captured the harm and the time of the recordings, my cousin took her son and $100,000. When the guy tried to luxury and take his son and money back,
Round one.
he was shown the incriminating footage and an ultimatum. He either leaves Australia without divorcing the wife, the son, and he might not stay alive, thus his mother roughing up the son, or he was Australia penniless, and knows the latter. When he came back to Lebanon, he slipped into alcoholism, he lost his family, and his house due to some temper issues, lost his visa since his ex-wife reported him and is currently a homeless man. Someone then I realized that only but then he realized this man is currently running a restaurant with her new husband, he has a daughter, and is extremely amazing guy. Disclaimer, no illegal action.
Round three. Round four. Fight. Final round. Fight. You win. Round one. Fight. Round two. Fight. Round three. Fight. Round one. Fight. Round three. Fight.
Probably one of the worst things I've had to deal with, and I'm usually pretty relaxed when it comes to babysitting. He was always stealing things, making messes, and throwing tantrums over literally nothing. I'm pretty sure he has some kind of mental disability, but since he was only 6 at the time, I never wanted to voice my concerns. But out of all of the things this boy did, whenever he stayed with me, the one thing he knew could push my buttons was hurting my animals. He would pull my cat's tails and ears, kick them, chase them.
Get ready for the next battle.
And my poor dog who's had a
Round one. Fight. Round two. Fight. Round three. Fight. Round four. Fight. muscle. Round one. Fight. Round two. Fight. Round three. Fight. Round four. Fight.
One of her claws had actually gotten ripped out in her mad dash through the garage to escape spoiled brat. She'd been stressed and jumpy for a very long time, and I prayed this would not affect her job as my therapist.